The history and culture of China. To get started with today's podcast, let's review a couple of concepts from our unit dealing with ancient China. Which of the following was not an achievement of ancient China? Was it gunpowder, silk, the airplane, paper, or the magnetic compass? Hopefully you chose the airplane. Let's take a look at a couple of other review questions. For much of its history, China was ruled by what? The correct answer is dynasties. Next up, the rulers of dynasties were called blank. Dynasties were ruled by emperors. And last but not least, over time, concerned with the presence of foreigners in China, the country adopted a policy of blank, closing itself off from the rest of the world. This policy was called the policy of isolationism. So now let's move beyond ancient history and take a look at imperialism in China. During the 1500s, as the demand for Chinese goods increased, European interest in China grew. Europeans forced China's government to trade and even took control of parts of the country. The picture to the left is a French political cartoon in which the pie represents China and is being divided between Queen Victoria of the United States, Wilhelm II of Germany, Nicholas II of Russia, the French Marianne, and the Meiji Emperor of Japan. Out with the old and in with the bold. Tired of imperial rule and foreign influence, Chinese rebels forced out China's last emperor in 1911. A republic was formed, but power struggles continued between two rival groups, the nationalists and the communists. On the right, you can see a picture of the nationalist leader Chiang Kai-shek, who was supported by the United States. Below him is the communist leader Mao Zedong. These tensions resulted in the Chinese Civil War, which started in 1927. Ushering in communism. In October of 1949, the Chinese Civil War ended, with the communists gaining control of China. Mao Zedong and the communists founded a new government, and China was renamed the People's Republic of China. Chiang Kai-shek and his nationalist followers fled to Taiwan, where they established the Republic of China. China under Mao. Mao's first priority as China's new leader was to erase any evidence of social inequality in his country. Landlords were publicly humiliated, and high-profile businessmen were labeled enemies of the state, with many committing suicide. Mao didn't want there to be wealthy people and poor people. He wanted everyone to share the wealth that was generated by the people. This led to 3 to 6 million deaths. During Mao's Great Leap Forward, focus shifted from agricultural production to the development of industry and infrastructure. With fewer peasants farming and new, risky agricultural techniques being used, food production fell. Fearing punishment, managers of communal farms lied about production totals. By the time the government quotas were fulfilled, little to no food was available to feed farming communities. The Great Leap Forward resulted in the death of 30 to 45 million Chinese peasants. Feeling that those in power were not serving the people, Mao called for a new cultural revolution. The Red Guard, a youth organization intended to challenge China's elite, brought chaos to many parts of the country. Intellectuals were sent to the countryside and forced into manual labor, and opponents of Mao were abused and sometimes killed. The impact of Mao. Though estimates vary, 50 to 75 million people died during the reign of Mao Zedong. After 33 years of stubborn and ineffective rule, Mao died in 1976. Thank you for watching.